Okay, any questions about any of those? I know you're all waiting to paint, and I am going to clear off my desk so that I can actually paint. So just give me a minute. I will, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna put you back onto this, and you'll probably be able to hear me talk. It didn't go. Wait a second. Okay, I'm gonna put you on this. I have a new class that was launched. I haven't said anything about it yet. And it is called Ice Cream and Coffee Beans. And it is a series of more than 7 hours of video. And we do 2 full double page spreads, 1 single page spread. And it takes you through how I am inspired to create such topics in my art journal, and sketches, paintings, talks about foreground, background. Its faces are in there, you know, drawing faces. And let me show you just a bit. I'm getting all these off my table. 1 second. But you can actually go into my website and see that, and that's a self-paced class, since you can go ahead and you have a passcode protected page when you register, and you'll be able to access that at any time you are ready to paint. Okay, I think that's there. Let me show you some of the pictures that are with this. So that's that's from the ice cream one. That's one of the sketch times, the sketch videos. That's another sketch video. I'm sorry, it's a little light on the screen. And then that is from one of the coffee ones. So we actually go through all of that wonderful, wonderful things. Okay. So I am back. Whoops. Kind of back. There we go. Yay. Ready to paint? Everybody ready to paint? I know, you guys have all been patient. I have to do my little show and tell, because they're not on the website anymore. Those things I showed, the art supplies are not on the website. So, because there's just so little left. And if you just give me 1 more minute while I get my paints back out. These babies never get closed, so that was something new for them. I am working in my art journal the size of an 8.5, no, not 8.5 by 11. Is it 8.5 by 11? I think it's almost 9 by 11. That's the book that I'm going to work on, but I'm only doing 1 page, 1 side. So you, of course, can do whatever size you would like. My intention for this was inspired by a conversation with my friends there, Karen and Associates. And just to kind of give you a little background, every year for the last 6 years, we have created, I've taught a class, actually sometimes it's been in our art journaling class, where they would create something, mixed media, painting, canvas, whatever it is, and then they would take a picture of it and use it as their Christmas cards. Now, I think 1 year Karen did hers as, not as a Christmas card, but just as a regular card, right? Just she did hearts. Okay. So my intention for this year is also, they were talking about maybe a little bit of a Christmas fun. After we get into this, I'll kind of share different ways that you can print these or make them digital so that you can share them with others if you want to. So here we are. Let me get my pencil. And I am working, like I said, over here is just one of my elephants I did for something else. This seems like a good page to work on. So I am working on this page. Just ignore that little thing of paint right there. So I want to talk to you. We're going to do Christmas Nisse. And if you don't know what a Nisse is, you might think that they are like gnomes, and they're not gnomes. I am not a gnome fan. Let me just put it out there. I do not like gnomes very much. It just never kind of was attracted to gnomes. But a Nisse is very fun. So a Nisse is a Danish mythological creature that comes out around around the winter solstice, around Christmas, all of that. And he can be a little mischievous, so that's always fun. But he also is he's part of the modern customs where he also brings gifts, kind of like a Santa Claus does. But he's a Nisse. And the reason why I went to this is because, yes, I'm one of those Hallmark Christmas movie watchers. And last week there was a movie that was set in, it was American Town, but it had a Danish flair to it, Danish culture to it. And they had this event set up every Christmas to be a Nisse hunt. And little kids would get scavenger hunt clues, and they would go all around the town to find this Nisse. And so I thought that was kind of fun, and I wanted to go ahead and kind of give him some life with us. So my Nisse is going to be in the center here, and then I'm going to go ahead and do some background. So if anybody wants to photograph him and use him as a card, you'll be able to clear him in the photo very easily, even if you chop off some of your background. Okay, we're going to start out, and I think I'm going to try to get a little closer so that you can see, because I'm going to be doing it in pencil, of course. Okay, so let me know if I'm off the page. So right here in the middle is his nose. And his nose can be an oval, it can be round, it can be whatever shape you want. But his nose is kind of a focal point. And you can make it as big or little as you want. I kind of like them little. And above his nose is actually where his hat starts. There's no eyes. There's no other facial features except a nose and a very funky beard that we can put in. And I like stocking caps. I think they're kind of fun, and they give us a lot of fabric to play around with. So the first part of this stocking cap, I'm gonna kind of bell out. If that makes sense. It's kind of a little bell shape on that side. And the same on this side. And right up here, before I put any more lines, I thought it would be fun to put a little poinsettia. So to do my poinsettia, I started out with little circles. That would be the center. And then I do little petals, leaves, whatever you want to call them for a poinsettia. I believe they're leaves, aren't they? They're not petals, or maybe they are petals. I don't know. Kind of like that. And then you fill in with bigger ones in between those gaps. So then I've got a bigger one. And how I'm making these petals, let me do it with a marker so you can see it. So the petals that I'm doing are kind of curved like that. They're kind of like leaves. Let me put that over there. You can kind of see. So I went to those first four little ones, and then I put bigger ones in between those first four little ones. And then in between the bigger ones and the little ones, I'm putting another layer of the same kind of petal. And sometimes you may not have a good space for it. It doesn't have to be even all the way around, believe it or not. Not crazy about this one right here, so I'm just going to widen that one out a little bit. And then I do want to have some leaves that kind of hang off his hat. And usually poinsettia leaves have some jagged edges to them, but this is on a hat. I'm going to make him soft. We wouldn't want anybody to get hurt with a hat. Okay. And then I'm going to finish up on the right side here by just doing kind of an invisible line through that poinsettia to pick it up at the end, the other end of that poinsettia, and come up as high as I want that stocking hat to be. But over here, because my stocking hat is going to fall to the left side, then there's going to be some gathers here. So to make the gathers, I am taking that part into the hat a little bit. And then have kind of another gather right there. And then another one right there. And that, when we start to paint, you're going to probably want to change that just the way that those go a little bit. These lines might curve in a little bit, and you might actually have more like that. And then finally, on the top of this one, you're going to actually bring that down, and your stocking cap is going to come to a point. Kathy, I see you down in the corner. I had to change the way my screen looked. I didn't see you. Welcome. Okay. Now, I would like a little pom-pom on the end of my stocking cap. I kind of went really close to the top here. If you guys are planning on taking photographs, you may not want to go as high, and you can erase it still before you paint. Only because if you're working in a book, you might have a problem with trying to get all the edges, because a book, you've got to deal with the spine and the shape, the kind of changing page, since it buckles a little bit. If you're working on paper, there would be no problem taking a straight picture. Okay, so down here is where his beard starts, and you can do just kind of straight lines if you want to with his beard. I like to build it curly, and it's pretty long. And these are just double wide bands of hair or beard that are going to go long. They might be curly. And building those up in all kinds of different widths and lengths, and just having some fun. Now, if you're not sure of how you want your shape to be, you can do single lines first to kind of blouse out or radiate out from this space. And then go back after you've got your single lines in and double them up and even add more. But this way you can have a guideline to the way you want the beard of your niece to look. And before you get too far with that, my niece is going to hold a star. So somewhere in the midst of that beard, I'm going to put let's see, I did it too low. I'm going to put a hand. So I'm going to probably put that in right here. And then another one over here, so that I know that when I'm doing his beard, I want his hands to show a little bit because they're going to hold a star. So I'm going to put that big star in. And I already had done a piece of his beard going across where the star is, and that's okay because the beard is so big it actually can, you know, crop over it. But those are the hands that are going to be holding the star. So now I can build my beard knowing where I want those lines to cross over. And have some fun with those.
When you
And
get
usually
do the star again.
Yeah, so do you want me to show you on here how to make a star? Is that what you asked me, how to make a star?
Yeah, just I missed where you did it on there.
Okay, so I put them down there, and so I did the little hands are just kind of ovals without the end on them because the hair is going to cover the ends of the arms. There's not really going to be any arms. The star is being held, and I go this way. Go up and then down to the right and then across to the left, up to in between those first points and back down. So I do 1, 2, I go to 3, 4, 5, and then back to 6. And a lot of people go different directions than that. That's just how I do it. And so even if I want this star to be on top of the beard, I can finish the beard underneath it also. Now, all these lines, and you might have wanted me to tell you this before, we're going to go over, or I'm going to go over with black pen so that it looks just like it's a white beard. But I am going to have some color tinted in my white beard because, you know, it's mine. There's going to be some purple tint in there. But if you want it to stay white and you don't want to paint it white because it's not going to be too different than from your background, you might want to, you're going to be going over it with the black pen maybe. Now I've done these before where I put cute little doodles inside some of these beard hairs here. It has been a while since I remembered the Nisse story. When I taught social studies years and years ago, we did this as one of our cultural explorations, and I hadn't thought about it in probably a couple decades. Now I feel like I aged overnight since my son is now engaged, so I'm very old. Karen, do you feel that way when your son got engaged? Yes. Okay. All right, so I'm going to keep putting in some more lines. I think they're fun. And if you want to go crazy, you could actually candy cane these little beard things to make him look more like, you know, Christmassy. But see, his little hands are sticking out of his beard. How fun is that? All right. But he does need something to wear. So you can keep playing with his beard. I'm going to keep adding probably a lot. And I'm probably, just to give you an idea, because I like to go in and doodle more, I'm probably just going to take some lines also by themselves, not thick, you know, not wide, and put some doodles in other places. There's some curves right there. And I'll do that with my black pen. I'm really not going to do too much with the pencil, because then it just means that I have to trace that. I'm sorry, you can hear our dogs going nuts, probably. Okay, so he does need to wear something. So down here, I am going to put 2 little feet. And the little feet are just these kind of ovally kind of things, like that. And I think I'll do another one right here. And he's going to have this kind of, oh, I don't know, what would you call it? Like a nightshirt coming from there. I actually want him to be a little wider than I just did. So I'm going to do this line. Get one of those other erasers. One of the reasons why I love those erasers I shared with you is because they don't smudge the paper. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to make that a little bit wider. He's so cute. I get too much joy. Okay.
You cannot have too much joy.
Oh, Gloria, I love you so much. Thank you for saying that. You're so sweet. I think you're right. Definitely think you're right. Okay. Cute, cute, cute. But this is just the beginning, of course, because you get to doodah up all his little fun things. So like for me, I want to give him, on his slouchy hat, I want to give him some stripes. And I'm going to put in, oh, I don't know how many stripes, maybe 4 stripes. And actually, what I want to do with the stripes, because the stripes like that, those are nice. You can see them. They're right there. They're nice. They are, let me put in one more. I'm going to put in a wavy one. They're nice looking stripes. No doubt about it. But they're ending right at the end of the stocking hat, which means there's no kind of cuff on that hat. And I kind of am thinking that I want those stripes to be maybe cuffed. So what I'm doing then is now coming in and rolling the edges of those stripes that I put in. So it looks like they are kind of a cuff on there. See the difference? Because he's a fancy niece. A little crazy, mischievous. I'm thinking, and I didn't do this research because I haven't, 20 years ago when I taught this, Elf on the Shelf was not really a big deal. At least I didn't know it. I never did Elf on the Shelf with my kids. No. So I really didn't know too much about that, but I'm guessing that possibly it stems from this old custom. Nisses were found in the kind of the attics or the lofts of old farmhouses, is where the story is, where they tell the story from. And I thought that was kind of neat. So maybe that's where the elf on the shelf came from. I'm not quite sure. While you guys are still drawing, I'm not getting ahead of you, I promise. I'm going to go in and see if I can get this green watercolor that's stowed away on my page from the page beside it. Just going to water that down so it, even if it doesn't come off, it's not big splotches. Although he might be fun splattered at the end too. So you guys tell me when you're ready to paint.
I'm ready to paint.
You are ready to paint. Alrighty. So before you paint, go in there and erase all those lines that you don't want to be smudged when you put your watercolor on it. I'm erasing the inside of my star. That's the first thing that I am erasing. I'm actually going to erase some of the line of the star because I did my normal sketch, which means I go over it a gazillion times, so it gets pretty wide. And I'm also going to make this arm of my star just a bit bigger. So I'm just going to kind of, and that looked weird, so let me fix it. So I've got that guy in there. I'm also going to erase a little bit of these leaf lines up here because they crossed over with the side of the hat. So I want to get that hat line out of there. And I had a petal that I had to make wider, so I'm getting that line out of there. So just cleaning this up a bit. Okay. Now, before we start painting, I want to give you some ideas for background, because sometimes you want to do your background before you do your main part, and sometimes you want to do it after. My idea, and I'm going to hope that you can see this, but I'm not quite sure. This is my guy that I did as a little sample dude. Oh, forget the fairy. She was a while ago. Okay, so this is my little guy. So on the background, if you can see, there's little scrolls, and I didn't do anything with those because this is just my little sketchbook. But I was thinking about doing these little scrolls right on the white background in like red and green and purple, maybe even a silver gel pen. But if you are going to photograph this, I do not recommend using any kind of shimmer because it will dull out your photo. It's really hard to get a shimmer to show. So if you want to do scrolls like that around your back, then you would just paint him first, add the scrolls in after. But if you want kind of like a solidy background or something like that, then you want to go ahead and paint that background first. Because I'm teaching this class and it is, people have different variety of things that they want to do, I am actually going to show you both. So what I'm going to do is give this guy, especially because I've erased too. So if you have some eraser marks that are kind of out in this area, you want to go ahead and put a background in. But my eraser marks are not actually from this one. They're actually smudges from when I was drawing this one and I closed the book. So I kind of have eraser marks in all different places on this page. And what I'm going to do then is take this beautiful Pastel Dreams, and I'm going to take, whoops, except that I had purple on my brush already. Imagine that, purple on my brush. Okay.
Never.
And there's the purple right there. Okay. So I'm going to take some of this light blue. It's very, very light. And it is mixed with purple. How did it know that I was going to do that? Because I always mix things with purple, I guess. And I'm actually going to go right up into the crevices of my little guy here. So I'm doing a very light background color. So on top of that background color, I can do those scrolls. We get a little bit of purple. While that blue is a little wet is when I'm going to pop in some of my light purple. So I'm using these pastel. This is one of the reasons why I do love this set so much, is it provides a really nice background without getting too heavy. And it allows me to put other colors on top. I'm trying to get another one of these hickordoos. Okay, so yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and put this background in all around him. Again, if you want to leave your background white, then you would skip this part. As you can see when I'm painting, I'm not really worried about going into my design. It's such a light color, and it's not going to affect the color that I do in my painting of my niece. So just kind of plopping that in. Let me tell you, I told you about the ice cream and coffee beans. That is the new class that you can get online, but I have a special gift for everybody. It is a free tutorial. Actually, it's 14 tutorials, and it's called the 12 Winks of Christmas. And every day for 12 days, you will get a new email with a link to paint some emblem of the holidays. And at the end of those 12 days, you will have a sampler, kind of like those old-fashioned samplers that people needle pointed all the time. You will have a sampler of all kinds of Christmas emblems to get you in the spirit.
Ooh, that sounds like fun.
Yay!
Yay, that
Fun?
does sound like fun.
It does. And full disclosure, I tried to keep them at 10 minutes each. I'm not going to tell you about the 24-minute one or the 17-minute. Yeah, I did try very hard, and I'm in the process of finishing the editing. And on a couple, I just did some speeding through because I was like putting multiple layers of paint on the same color. So I sped through, but most of them are like 10, 12, 15 minutes. The first one actually just walks you through making the grid if you want to make the grid like I did on my page. And there's actually a PDF that you can follow to make your grid. And then we go into the 12 different days, and I'm hoping to launch this on Wednesday. We're just trying to get it so that it works on the website or on the auto drip so that you can get it at the same time every day. And there's then a last one after the 12 days. There's a last one, and that one's kind of your finishing touches to everything. So yeah, I'm excited for everybody to do that. It's a free little thing, and it's just fun, and I go a little crazy. And you can see I filmed them all yesterday, so they're even 12 days, but I'm in the same clothes, just so you know. I filmed them all in one day. I didn't wear the same clothes for 12 days. Okay. And I think I must have been breathing in some fumes or something, because by like day 7 or 8, I started to get kind of really boisterous, I guess, and saying, have a fabulous day, and, you know, all kinds of stuff. So just ignore my crazy.
Jolly.
Thanks, Gloria. Jolly. Okay. So as you can see, that little pastel blue, of course, turned into kind of a pastel lavender, because as the blue was wet, I dropped in the lavender. And what that did was tone down that orchid. If you can see on my palette, that orchid is usually that bright. So by putting this ice sky underneath and watering that orchid down quite a bit, I was able to get a very pastel feel that I wanted to in this background. I'm actually going to even put in a little bit more down here, and just, it's very soft, very fun. Okay. So, oh, that is adorable, Karen. So cute. Okay. So we don't really need to wait to paint any part of this guy unless your painting around him is really wet. And if it is, then I would start with the star and the little mittens. But before you start anything, this is one of those that I like to plan a little bit. And, you know, plan is kind of not a really great word in my vocabulary because I like to be serendipitous and spontaneous and all those kind of wonderful things. But I think with the little niece, and because it is Christmas, if you want him to be Christmas, he can be anything. He doesn't have to be Christmas. But I chose to do mine, as you saw, in lime green. Lime green and red are kind of one of my favorite combinations. I don't really do a dark green and red for the holidays, like lime green and red, and of course the purple. And then there's just, this is a two-tone blue star. And I just like to keep it very simple because this is a simple design. He's very cute. And I thought that simplicity would be just a nice change of pace. So, yes. So, as you are thinking about what you might want to paint your different sections, I am suggesting that you go ahead and start with the star. And so I'm going to put in a kind of a turquoise base on that star. And while it's wet, I'm going to drop in a deeper blue. So I just have some areas done with that turquoise like that. And then take a little bit of a deeper blue and let that bleed through, feather out into the other parts. And it might need a little bit of help. I didn't have the turquoise as wet. So I'm just gonna kind of get a little bit more water in there so it bleeds. So that's fun. See, he's cute.
He's adorable.
You guys never thought that we would be painting this whimsical thing for Christmas today, did you?
No.
But I love it.
Karen, did you think it was going to be a tree or something? Yep. We've never painted anything like this before. Very cutesy. Virginia Beth, you having fun? Yep. Good job. Mom, are you? She said something. I don't know if I want to hear it. He's muted.
Sure am.
You sure are. Okay. That wasn't the face that I saw, but yes, thank you. All right. But you might want to mute because I hear the dogs are near you. I think they might be barking. I muted you for you. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to wait to do my mittens since they are near the star and the star is really wet. The first thing I'm going to start, where I'm going to start is actually my, my first roll of the hat. And I'm going to kind of stay within what I painted in my sample by doing a lime green and a red and a purple combination. Now my background is still really wet, so I don't want to put my fingers on it because then I'll get fingerprints. So I'm just going to press down on his beard a bit and start out with a very limey green. And anything you do, now I always press darker with pencil when I'm teaching because I want you to be able to see it in the camera. But anything you do with pencil, of course, you run the risk of that pencil smudging into your paint when you are painting. And I just wouldn't worry about that. I just think it adds some bit of depth. And you may want to go ahead and even outline some of these lines when you are done. So I'm going to go ahead and do the next green one, which is on the other side of the blank one here. That's blank one's going to be red. Okay. And then I'm thinking that I want another band up there that I didn't put in, like a little skinnier green one on top of this next red one. So I just did a quick little erase. My background is wet, so I want to make sure my eraser things don't get stuck in the wet paint. You can see my fingerprints are all down here, which that's okay. And with my pencil, I'm just putting in one more little wavy band, little droopy, like that. And in there, I will also put some lime green. So I didn't want it even. I didn't want too green and too red. So now we have it uneven. All right. And I'm going to let that dry a minute. I learned from my my sample that I was doing. I went too fast and I had a little bit of running in with the green and the red. So I'm going to just hold off on that. I'm putting the red in yet. And oh, so one of my friends, okay, so I just finally got into Facebook and one of my friends was watching from Germany and he said he knows a niece. He is one of our drummer friends that was showing in Germany when I was in Germany at Epcot. When I was there the last 2 or 3 times, we were there together, so we became buds. And there he is, so he knows that. Yay! Okay, so my little hat is going to dry a bit. I am going to put the green in my little pom-pom too. So put that in there. And then the other place that I put green on mine is his shoes, his feet. And, you know, he's got some pretty thick lines up here. So I'm just going to erase one of those. I already started to put the green in, so I'm probably messing with fire here, but just lighten those a little bit. Okay, so I've got some green boots. I was really thinking about doing a gingerbread house, and I was like, no, I want something a little bit more, a little different than what is out there. So we've got a Nisse going on. And I really think my house needs one. Oops, I'm almost off the page. Okay. So cute, even just with the green. All right, when the other parts start to dry, we can put those, we can do the, the rest of my colors are purple and red actually, but right now my star is dry, so I can go around that area, and my mittens are going to be purple. So I can go ahead and put the purple in. And I'm using the purple from the classic set. Okay. Cute, 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 cute. And my green is still a little wet up here. I probably should have started with that band so it would dry a little quicker, but I see somewhere else I need to erase. Whoops, got that in there. And for mine, his stocking cap is purple. The poinsettia is red with green leaves. The ripples in the cap here, in the cuff of the cap, are red. His robe here is red. And then that just leaves his beard as well as his little nose. And for his little nose, I'm going to take some honey brown and put it on my palette right there like that, because I want it pretty light. And again, this would be a great opportunity to have the complexions set out, but I of course don't have mine unwrapped. I'm getting all the little pencil lines out of his nose that I need to before I paint it. And then I'm putting in this kind of little beigeish honey brown color. Very cute. I know every time I add another part, I'm like, it's so adorable. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and start the stocking part of the hat. But I'm starting at this point because my green band right here is still a little wet. So I'm going to start in here. And go work my way down. And I'm using the purple from the classic set, and it's straight out of the pan. I might go ahead and darken it. You can see it got a little darker, but it's not going to stay this dark. I might go ahead and put some darker strokes, some strokes of darker purple in these creases. And in maybe some other areas as well. It's very peaceful, isn't it? If I would stop talking. Cute, cute, cute. All right. Okay, so while my hat is still wet, the purple of my hat is still wet, is when I'm going to go ahead and drop in some darker purples that I have from another palette. I don't want to get too dark, so I'm going to put it on my palette first and water it down a bit, and then bring it in. And I can always make it darker. I just, don't want to mess with it if it's too dark. So that still needs to be just darker than that. So I'm going to go ahead and now put that in there like that. And you can see how that helps to give it a little bit more texture design. On that side. So it added, so I just took that lighter purple and did the whole thing, and then came in and just dropped a bit of darker shade of the same color in there, and it just makes a nice variation of color right there. He's so cute. He's gonna need a name. Okay, so I'm gonna take some of that same dark purple, even though my mittens are kind of dry. Just gonna put in a little bit of darker purple on the bottom of it, of those mittens. I'm gonna spread it out a little bit. You can hardly see it, but it's one of those things that the touch is nice. Just gives it a little bit of shadow. Okay. Then on mine, the last color is actually red. And I want to stay away from the purple, so I'm not going to do the poinsettia yet. I'm going to go ahead in here and do in between these green bands on the cuff of the hat. And I'm doing the red from the classic set right out of the pan. It's going to look pretty bright. So I could calm that down with just a float of a little bit of brown on top, just a very light wash of brown to kind of calm down that brightness, but I kind of like it. And I think Nisse are known for having bold, bright colors. So I'm going for it. Kind of reminds me of the slouchy hat that Dopey wears from Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. All right, so there's the red and the lime green. And while I have red going, I'm going to go ahead and do my poinsettia. And I'm just even going out of the lines a little bit right onto that purple, just to kind of make it look like it's sitting on the purple hat without any separation between the two. There's no white. And I'm leaving the space where all those little circles are, leaving that white for right now. I'll go back and put yellow in it later once the red is dry. If you try to do that while your color, your red or whatever color you're choosing to do is wet, it's going to bleed in and make a little puddle. And that's also the reason why I'm going to wait to do those green leaves, because they have to dry. Okay, now let me find my favorite brush. Now I can go ahead and paint the robe, this little cloak that he's wearing. If I can find, there's my brush. Okay, I'm actually going to use this one. So I'm using a round bullet brush like that, so that I can get up into these areas where I am thinking that his clothing is going to show through his beard. And I'm actually going to start there. Got a nice little rounded tip on this brush, which the one that I use all the time with the purple handle, that tip is kind of gone now. And this is something that, you know, you can judge as you're doing, because whatever you don't paint in, it's very easy to make part of the beard. So you've got a lot of leadway to, you know, just paint away however you want to paint. And one of the things I do when I'm painting like this is to make sure that I don't try to do solid colors, because it's just challenging not only to get the same shade of the watercolor the whole way across, but especially when you're going into tight corners and then big spaces right after, your paint is going to distribute differently. And you could spend time doing it. I mean, it's definitely not impossible. It's just not fun for me, I know. So I like to do one coat of a color like this red, and then I'll come back in with maybe a darker version of red and add that on top once this layer has dried. There's our doggies. And you could put a design in this cloak too if you wanted to, in this robe. You don't have to have it solid. You could definitely put some crazy in there. Our new dog is very vocal, so I apologize if you could hear her. She's obviously communicating something very important. Okay. So the variation in color, I have to really wait until this area is dry. And as I'm saying waiting, I'm going back in and painting it anyways, but should wait till it dries. Okay. And then I can probably pop up into this poinsettia and put my yellow in. I'm going to do a gold. And then I did a few gold, and then I'm going to put some yellow also to brighten that up a bit. And then the green. Which I'm starting my green out with the lime green that I did on those bands. But then I'm taking a darker green right after that and plopping that in so it darkens parts of that leaf, right like that. And this green actually looks bright anyway, or darker anyway. So I'm just gonna kind of spread that out a little bit. Even though it's dried, I can reactivate it. Yeah, that's better. He's so cute. All right, so while I know you guys are painting and while mine's drying before I can do any more, let me talk to you a little bit about how you can go about using this as a card, or even a digital card if you wanted to. But when you take this picture, just take a picture with your camera, your phone, and if you want to edit it for color, anything like that, you can do that. And you can go to anywhere from Walgreens and Walmart to places like Society6 or is it Shutterfly that you use, Karen? Yep, Shutterfly. And there's several other companies, so just whichever one you would like. Vistaprint does it. I've done cards through Vistaprint and they're pretty quick. And you would just follow along the steps to upload your photo onto their software page. So you would pick the size card that you want, and it's usually like, you can even do 5x7s. I think you can do 4x5s maybe on Vistaprint. I can't remember. Printer Studio is also one that I've used. I really like Printer Studio and Vistaprint. Those are the ones that I use a lot. Karen has used Shutterfly for years. And anyway, so you would upload your image, and then the next step would be to put your any text, any holiday wishes, anything like that on the inside. And then it's really self-explanatory when you go into these programs, and they each have a different kind. But when you get through the 4 pages, I guess, so it would be the front cover, the inside left, which I usually leave blank, the inside right, which I usually put a little holiday greeting, and then you go to the back cover and make sure you sign your name on there. Make sure you put artwork done by and put your name on there. And a lot of times I'll put the year too, if you want to put the year. So that's one way to do it. If you want to send greeting cards, most of those places give you the envelopes with them. Walgreens and Walmart, I think, does them as well. I'm not sure Walmart does them anymore. I know Walgreens does. I know Walgreens puts like a little emblem though on their cards that says printed at Walgreens. It's on the back. And a lot of times I will do my, what's it called? Like a proof, just to see how it's going to look. I'll do it through Walgreens because I can get it the same day or the next day. And then once I get my proof and I've adjusted everything, then I feel more comfortable to go ahead and send it away to one of these other companies. They're not exactly the same. So you could get a proof, and then once you get it back from that other company, it could look a little different, but at least that proof helps a little bit. But the trick is that I do too, is I like to make prints and postcards. I like to make postcards especially. So if you have a card, say in Printer Studio, that has a front and inside left, an inside right, and a back, I look at the front and the inside left as one card. So I would put my picture on the front and anything that I would like to say on the back. And then I leave a space like a postcard would, where you can put the address or anything like that. And you can send it directly through the mail. So that would be one card. Then on the card, then on the inside right, I put the picture again. And on the back, I put that text again. So out of one card, I'm getting 2 postcards, because I just slice them down the middle when I get my order. So that's also a nice way to do something, and not just for the holidays, but anytime that you want to do something. That's kind of a little hack that you can get more out of one card. The other thing you can do is take your picture, and then you could insert it into an email to somebody and send them a nice little greeting like that. Your picture, you can, if you have, I use Pages, but if you have a Word document or something like that, I would take my picture, I would insert it on one of my Word documents, put a little cute note like "Be Jolly" or "Merry and Bright" or "Happy Holidays" or, you know, "Happy Christmas," something like that. Have that on there, and then take a screenshot of that, your art with the text on it. And then you have a picture again that actually has the text on it, unless you want to write the text actually on your journal, which you can do that as well. And then the last one that I suggest doing is that you can take the picture, open it up on your laptop, and export it as a PDF. And then you've got this document, this cute little thing that you can attach to an email or something. And on my PDF, what I normally do, or I usually do a document, and then I would make a PDF, and think of your PDF, your document in 4 squares, and only put your picture in 1 square. And then when you print it out, you can fold that piece of paper with that picture on the front. So you've got like a folded card that way. So if anybody wants any more of those, I know that's a lot to follow, This will be recorded, so you could actually play that recording again, or you can email me and I'll try to give you more clear instructions. It really depends on where you want to get them printed or how you want to deliver it to somebody. Okay. While we were talking, my red went ahead and dried. I'm going to get a little bit of a burgundy color and just go over that red with a deeper burgundy. You can see the difference of color right there as I'm putting it on. And even though I don't need to do that up above, if you can see the gown or the skirt or whatever we want to call this, the smock is brighter than up here. And I really like the deeper tones up there. And they're deeper because they were just such a small space. When I stretched out this red against this really large space, it looks a lot brighter, and I don't really want it that bright. So now I need to go in with my darker burgundy, and what I'm using is a deep burgundy from the Odyssey set. Actually, it's called Rome. That was one set that I had already sold out of. I do not have any of those in the shop. But it's a nice collection of just some deep tones that I really like to work with. If you do a digital card, you can always go in and adjust your colors as well, your color settings, so that you can play around with those. You can even do them in black and white. It's just kind of cool. Okay. So that red is done for me, and the poinsettia is done. I have all my parts painted. So what's left though is my beard, and I had that little bit of color that was, jumped over from the page beside it. And I'm going to go ahead and use that as this idea that I'm supposed to be putting a little bit of tint in the beard. It's my message from the universe. So that original blue that I used on the background, I'm going to put some in a little palette. You can hardly even see it. It's so light, but it's there, and it's almost looking chalky. It's not really looking blue. It's looking white, chalky. And then from there, I'm going to go ahead and swipe through my beard. And it's going to gray out a little bit because it's going to pick up the smudged pencil. But it's not really going to look too smudge-like. It's just going to look like it's a white entity on top of the background. You can see that. It's just enough coloring to build it up a little bit as far as some depth perception here. Picked up a little bit of red down here, so I want to get rid of that red. You can see the difference between both sides. It still looks white, but it's definitely not as bright as that over there. But once I paint over both sides, you're not going to be able to tell. And also, if you're going to photograph, having a little bit of something on here to take away the sheen of the white is going to photograph pretty well too. You're not going to get as much reflection. Just be careful when you go around your other parts that are painted, because if you're doing this wash like I am, it's really, your brush is really wet, so it's going to be eager to pick up the colors that it goes around too. He's so cute. I haven't thought of a name for mine. Just Nisse, I guess. Okay. Cute, 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 cute. Okay. So that, of course, has to dry. And while I'm letting that dry, I'm going to go ahead and do some scrolly things in the background. Now I have these Derwent Inktense pencils. And if you have a pencil, different colored pencils or paintbrushes, or really thin paintbrush, sorry, or gel pens, anything like that, again, you can go ahead and use some of those, but I would stay away from the metallics if you're going to photograph your piece. So I have these 3 colors. They're my green, red, and deep violet. I actually, I sold these in the store too, but I think I only have 1 set left and it's reserved. Okay, so I am just going to just start scrolling out along my background, just whimsy. Now you might have more methodology to your crazy. I don't ever have rhyme or reason with my crazy. I just go. I'm just alternating between those 3 different colors. It's very much a celebration. So cool. Okay, we need a little bit more purple. I like it when it starts to get kind of all puzzly and webby and all that kind of stuff, but you might want, if you don't like it like that, there's definitely a stopping point that you can get to that wouldn't be as chaotic, but I kind of like the chaos. Or you might have a completely different background, which is fabulous. All right. He's so cute. Have I said that before? Huh. Okay. So now that I have that part done, I am actually going to take my black Sharpie pen. This is one of the pens that are Sharpie. It's archival safe, permanent pen. And start to have some fun. I just want to make sure that things are pretty dry. So before I put my pen on there, because it will ruin my pen tip, definitely ruin my pen tip, if I try to put that pen in wet. And it seems like just about everything is pretty dry. And I do this thing when I outline, they're not actually traced outlines. They're just, they're kind of wonky. So it's like a broken line. You can see this. And maybe some dots and some squiggles. And, it's not, I don't want it to look like a coloring book image. So I don't worry too much about staying in the lines. Sometimes I go out of the lines. And just have some fun, but it definitely pops out different parts. And then I'll use my black pen to also go in and put like the veins of the leaves, the petals, just an extra little design element there. I have to say it again. He's so cute. I know. I'm nuts. Well, it's just so funny because I really am not, like I said, a fan of gnomes, but last year our son bought our plant crazy daughter 2 little gnomes for her plant crazy house. And they were the cutest little gnomes. And full disclosure, I found them for him to buy her. They were so cute, and they were on our kitchen table for a while with her plants that she bought when she was here. She lives in Maryland, so she was here and she bought a gazillion plants. She was driving back. Anyways, they were so cute, and they were like the first time that I really liked little gnomes. But I remembered about the Nisses, and I just didn't think about it for art journaling or art or anything. And then I'm glad that that movie came about, because then I was like, oh, let's do that.
I think there are good gnomes and bad gnomes.
I think you're right. You're right. Well, and maybe that's it, because some of them I've seen for, decades that were just, I don't know, they just didn't tickle my fancy. But some are cute. Yeah, I've seen some. And Disney had some really cute ones. The ones he bought her, one was holding a cute little Christmas tree, and she's a Christmas baby. She was born on Christmas Day. So it was perfect for her. And then it was a pair. I cannot for life of me remember what the other one was holding, but they were just so cute. Like they were charming gnomes, not like crazy, weird, possessed ones. So.
This is an odd world we live in.
I know it is. I know. All right. So now I'm working my way down, which means I'm tackling this crazy beard. And my lines are still maybe a little squiggly, a little broken, some dots in there. The fun thing that I like to do, so I'm going to do it over here, is like I might do a little bit of line and then put a cute little star in there and finish the line around, or a cute little heart, or maybe grow even a flower in there with a pen that I might put in here, like this cute little, I'm going to put a little flower in here just to kind of show you what I'm doing. I have a hard time tracing or going over in pen without having some kind of added little fun thing to do with it. The little peacock feather would be cute. I'm crazy about peacock feathers.
Is that the Christmas peacock?
The Christmas peacock. There you go. Sure. We had a Thanksgiving one. Let's have a Christmas one too. Love peacocks and owls. Definitely owls. Oh my goodness. I hope you guys are enjoying yours as much as I'm enjoying this.
I am loving it.
Good. I'm glad. I was trying to come up with a quote that would be good to use, but then I thought, if you were going to do Christmas cards, I'm sure you're going to put your own little blurb in there. So I don't know what I'm going to write on mine. I'm really bad. I don't do Christmas cards. And I had a friend from childhood who once told me she doesn't ever do Christmas cards. She does Valentines for everybody, just like you do when you're little and you bring Valentines to your classroom, to your classmates, and you give them to everybody. She sends out Valentines to everybody as if she would Christmas cards. She said that everybody's always bombarded with Christmas cards. Well, these were old, the old days when we used snail mail and actually sent a lot of cards. She said, but a lot of people don't get Valentines. So she does her Valentines. She sends out her family picture through Valentines and wishes everybody, wonderful Valentine's Day and a new year, since we're still, kind of in the beginning of a year. And I thought that was really cute. So my intention every year is to do Valentine's Day cards. And we've been married 31 years, and I think I've done it twice. So I have the intention though. I do send out cards though through the year to at different times. So that's my fallback. Don't forget you can put in more, little hairlines and whatnots in your beard as you're going along. I know Karen has also used her art for her screensaver on her, or not screensaver, what is it? Your profile background, right? On Facebook. Maybe a screensaver. Oh, she's gotten phone cases made out of her art journaling pages that we've done before.
Yeah, I have a phone case.
That's really cool. And that was from Shutterfly too, right?
Yes.
So fabulous.
They have an option where you can upload your own design, and that's where you put the picture in, and then that's how they create it.
So cool. I know. I always love to see that you're using your art for that kind of stuff. It's nice to have it around. Okay, so my little beard has all these kind of fun things growing in it too, leafy things and little circles and seeds, and I'll probably add more in there. And when I've done these before, it's been years, but I've put in words like dream, wish, magic, believe, anything like that in those little spaces too. I tend to turn everything into an art journaling page, obviously. So I always like our voices to be part of our designs. And one of the things with this being just a single page spread is if you have a blank one over here, you could actually carry your scrolls over to that page, but maybe leave a big square or something kind of framed in, and you could write, if you wanted to, in there. You could write even about the Nisse and what its symbolism is and the custom. And it is it's NISS or NIS, yeah, NISSE, I believe is how I spell it. Now, Neil's had, I think it says two I's and an S. That's probably, he's, like I said, he's in Germany. That's probably their spelling, which would be more authentic. And if you go to Etsy, there's several people selling stuffed Nisses, and they're adorable.
Not as cute as ours.
No, not as cute as ours. These are special. Putting little things on his little shoes. So cute. So cute. Let me see what it says over here. Yeah, they spell it NISSE. And that's how I've always spelled it. So we should take it from the authentic German though, right? Let me see if I can get this any larger because I can't see what he wrote exactly. My eyes are getting bad. Okay. Well, I lost the page. All right. He wrote his name. So funny. Okay, so Nisse, and I'm actually going to write that down here. And put a little star after it. Hee 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 hee. Very cool. So I hope that all went well with your painting and you enjoyed your adventure into the holiday season today with our little niece, our little posse of niece. So cute, so cute. I will get to see some of you for art journaling tomorrow night and Tuesday night. And for everybody, I wish you all a very, very, very happy holiday season. It's a little crazy. And look for that. There's going to either be an email or a Facebook post, or there's going to be something so that you can be on that email list for the 12 winks of Christmas. It's so fun. It's so fun. It's so fun. And I'm going to give you a peek. How about that? Yeah. This is a peek of mine, which means yours can be very different. But you're only getting a peek. Only getting a peek. I'm gonna flip the camera around. I'm gonna lay on top of it for a minute. Hiding it.
Cute.
There it is. Cute. Cute, cute, cute. Isn't it fun?
Yeah.
Every day we do something different. Yay. All right. So have a fabulous Sunday evening. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Rachelle.
We'll see you again soon.
All right.
Bye.